Family Television, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. It's an amazing morning right here. The month of love, it is the 1st of February. I am King Kamsi, and right here, this is the show where we get to update you on all of the things happening on the campaign train, and also why Peter Obi and his running mate, Yusuf Datiba Ahmed, are not just the best, but the only option we have for a greater Nigeria come May 2023. I don't do this alone. I have one of the most beautiful and delectable co-hosts who is always supposed to be on my right hand, but it's always on my left hand. Joy, how are you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, Kamsi. Good morning.
Good morning. So today, before we get straight up into the updates, we have a guest who's on standby, who's going to be speaking with us on matters concerning the Peter Obi campaign manifesto as well. And also, she'll be giving us a deep insight on the consumption to production tagline of the Peter Obi campaign. I have the most wonderful, delectable. She's a TV and a radio personality and also an entrepreneur. And allow me to add, a very hardworking person. From a distance, I've known her from a distance, and it's all kudos, and it's very amazing to have her on my show today. I'm talking about no other than Kibati Bankole. Kibati, you're welcome to the show.
Guys, how are you today? Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, and you're putting up a February 1st smile. I like that.
Sorry?
So you're putting up a February 1st smile, a new moon smile,
Oh, yes. I'm ready for February. It's a month of love, but most importantly, it's about Nigeria. It's about taking back Nigeria. That's why I'm wearing green, It's a month of love, but it's going to also be a month of war, battle at the end of it.
Truly. And all is fair in love and war, like they say.
Yes.
So let's delve straight into discussion and matters concerning the ObiDatti campaign and the obedience movement. You're one of the forefront obedience who have been vocal and open about the support for Mr. Peter Obi. I want to start by asking you, why Mr. Peter Obi?
Oh, wow. Okay. How do I answer that question? In Nigeria for as long as I've been alive, well, for at least for a very long time, it's been very rare. Well, I can probably count on one hand the number of politicians who I think merits being in public office in Nigeria. What we've been left with is what we've been saddled with are people with questionable character, lack of accountability, with very crooked reputations, who even from their body language, when they open their mouths, from their utterances, you can just tell that are not really interested in selfless service. Yeah. You can already tell that they're not really interested in service, but it's about it's about the pecs of the positions. So Peter Obi inspired me because just look at the man. He doesn't have to run. He's comfortable. He's doing very well in the private sector. And from everything he says, you can tell that he's one of the few people who, at least one of the few, in fact, the only among the top candidates, as far as I'm concerned, who really is interested in leadership, who really, and when he speaks, you believe him, he said, his catchphrase is go and verify, and then we verified and confirmed that everything he says is true. As governor of Anambra State, this is somebody who really cares about human development, who really cares about the citizens, who installs policies that really change the lives of the people, Of course, as he always says, you need to develop, you need to develop human capital for any country to make progress, and that's at the center of his policy, even his manifesto. So, and no one even comes close. Come on, for once. Is it not time? We've been saying, we need a younger president. We've been having presidents with questionable backgrounds, ages, health status. Is it not time for us to actually have a president who is smart, who understands development, and who is actually sound, intellectually sound? For the last few years, for the past 8 years, we've suffered the embarrassment excuse me, we've suffered the embarrassment, of our present presidents, and I think Nigeria needs a break. So I can't think of anyone better than Mr. Peter Obi for the job. We deserve. I mean, I said something similar 2 days ago when I was watching the guy in Lagos, GRV, the man running for the governorship of Lagos in Badibor Road 5, where I heard him on TV at the debates and in an interview, and he was so sound. And I was like, can you imagine these two men, in positions of power? This man being the governor of Lagos, and Peter Obi as the president of Nigeria. Can you just imagine the policies, the very intelligent policy, the amount of degree of change we will see in Nigeria? So, Peter Obi is a no-brainer. He's the best for the job. The simple answer to the question of why Peter Obi is that he's the best for the job. If anyone can prove that any other candidate is better than Peter Obi, please, I'm waiting to hear it. He's the best in integrity. He has the best ideas. He has the best manifesto. So, what are we talking about?
Okay, let me pick from your words now. Speaking about catchphrases and taglines, from consumption to production is one of the very first things a lot of people were able to memorize about Mr. Peter Obi's speeches. When he speaks a lot of life, but consumption to production is one thing that everybody agrees with in his speeches. And looking at the manifesto, he emphasized more on what he means exactly by taking Nigeria from a nation that deals with consumption, basically, as a mode to run the economy, to a nation that will handle production as a mode to run the economy. We've seen death in different parts of the economy, most especially our agro sector, because a lot of attention has been paid to oil. When I say attention paid to oil, I'm just being very sarcastic, because attention from the thieves that take this oil out of the nation, not even taking it to make the nation a better one, but people in the government take it and use it for personal use. And we've seen lots and lots of stories about how oil is being stolen. And the question arises, how can oil be stolen from the ground without anybody getting these people? So my question is this: tagline consumption to production. How can we make this possible? Or how can Peter Obi make this possible in simpler terms?
Wow. So Nigeria, as you know, has not been a producing country for I don't know how many decades now. At least not in my adult life. We've been so hyper focused on oil, as you said, and obviously the benefits and the proceeds of oil has been going, as thank God we've come to really discover of late, has been going into a few pockets, and Nigeria is not even benefiting as much as it showed from the said oil. But I'm going to use myself as an example. And this is one of the key reasons why I took up this passionate support for Peter Obi. I remember in late 2021, yeah, I think 2020/2021, I wanted to go into the agricultural business. I actually got a fantastic deal to buy acres of land somewhere in the southwest here. And the deal was set. If you know me, you know I'm very excited about business. I've got stacks and stacks of business ideas, business plans, So I wanted to go into this business. And I think before I pulled the trigger, I spoke to my dad about it, and he talked me out of it for one reason. That was a period where there was so much happening. I didn't actually know how bad the security crisis in the country was until I had this very insightful conversation with my dad. The area I wanted to buy the land, I was about to obtain the land. Apparently, just a few days before this, had been attacked by herdsmen. And the story was downplayed. Now the DPO. So apparently, what happened is the DPO I won't mention the area, but the DPO in that area actually fought back. They called the police, and they repelled and everything. There was a fight, there was a gunfight and everything. And guess what? The following week, that DPO was reassigned. He was called back. This is a southwest state, not far from Lagos. When my dad gave this story didn't even make the news. It didn't even really make the news. It just seemed like, oh my God. The conspiracy. So that discouraged me. I've had interest in going into textile business. I was going to kick off my own fashion line, but then I was like, I mean, I spoke to my, my partners, and I was like, oh, you need to import all textiles from from China. It has to be from China. I'm like, why not Nigeria? Why can't they produce textiles here? Don't we have? And then they broke down, the costs of setting up a textile plant in Nigeria, the cost of running that business. There's a reason why. I mean, it's actually cheaper. They said, Madam, it is cheaper to import from China. End of discussion. And I mean, there's so many ideas, so many things. Listen, like young people in Nigeria, straight out of school. I mean, you speak to young people every day, and we're full of ideas. We're fired up. We want to. I mean, come on, man. Who does not want to venture into business? Who doesn't want to be the next Peter Obi? Who doesn't want to establish businesses, but prosperous? Instead, what young people are talking about now is Japa, and you can't blame them. The cost of doing business in Nigeria is so high, and I'm so happy. Now, I'm not saying Peter Obi will solve all the problems, just wave a magic wand and solve the problem. But you first of all need a president who is interested, who is interested in solving the problem, who actually talks about the problems, the things, the battles, the things clogging the paths of business people. He talks about the ports. He talks about clearing up the ports. He talks about things to make business easy for young people. For me, obviously, the two problems. I mean, the two things mitigating against business development and increasing the cost of business in Nigeria is power and security. Insecurity. Generational insecurity. I cannot remember ever. Now, these guys, all the presidents we've ever had, I mean, pay lip service to, before they get elected, pay lip service to electricity production. But we've never had anyone actually deal with it. And guys, I mean, listen to him. The thing about Peter Obi is that he doesn't just make declarations. He doesn't just say, oh, you know what, I'm going to solve the electricity problem. He will actually tell you how he's going to do it. Peter Obi went to Egypt, had conversations with the government of Egypt to figure out how to solve the electricity problem, brought back the blueprint and told Nigerians, you know what, this is how they went about this. This is how I will solve the problem. Yesterday I was watching a series on Netflix called Messiah, and something happened. There was a particular scene in that series where the government of Israel, I mean, there was rioting, and the government of Israel switched off the electricity. And the lead character in that series said, oh, yes, that this is what they do, to dampen the morale of the citizenry, to control the citizenry. It's actually a tactic to control. I started wondering, wait a minute, is this the reason why we don't have power in Nigeria? Is it a control mechanism? Does the government of Nigeria want to keep Nigerians poor? Because, ladies and gentlemen, whether we like it or not, solve electricity and you will solve a huge percentage, solve the electricity problem and you solve a huge percentage of poverty in Nigeria. End of discussion. And this is one of the first things Peter Obi campaigned on. I was so excited that he takes that subject very seriously. It will drastically reduce the cost of doing business. It will drastically reduce the cost of doing business in Nigeria. I mean, look at the cost of diesel today. You cannot effectively, you can't run a business in Nigeria effectively. A lot of businesses are shut down just in the last year, just because of the cost of diesel. So when you have a president who is inclined to solve that problem, that we're going to find a solution and Nigeria will get better. And of course, he also talks about insecurity, solve that problem, but more importantly, human capital development. Sorry, you're saying something?
Yeah, Kimberly. Quickly, I'm going to take it back to P2B. I mean, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Of course, we all know that he is a competent man and he's reliable. But I want to know, how certain are you that Peter Obi, when emerged as the president of the country, is going to bring this possible new Nigeria we are all clamoring for?
Oh, wow. Okay, it's very simple. Like I said, if you remember very clearly, before Peter Obi released his manifesto, a lot of people were clamoring for it. They said, I think he was the last to release his manifesto. People were angry. And he said something. He said,
hello, this is my message to the Nigerian youths. I am glad that we have this great opportunity to discuss about the future of this country, Nigeria. Nigeria belongs to all of us, but to the youths most especially. I am super proud of what the youths have done, the realization that indeed the power lies with the youth. Indeed, successive governments and leadership have failed the youth. They've dismissed their capacity, the creativity, innovation. And this is why we are we were. I am here to speak to you that not only am I proud of you, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, is super proud of you.
You understand? Carefully crafted lines from his campaign saying, Peter Obi is not afraid. He sits with everybody. You saw him on Brekete TV, Family TV. You've seen him he's been on he's the only presidential candidate that's come on Twitter Spaces. He is not afraid to answer questions. And he breaks it down. He will tell you the problem and he will tell you the solution. And like I said, he doesn't have to run. The man is comfortable. So tell me why you should not believe him. Someone who actually prefers solution. And ladies and gentlemen, even if you're not sure, right? Even if you're not sure, like, well, politicians lie. Okay, think about this. Who has preferred the best solutions? Even if you're not sure, is it the best candidates or not? Has he preferred the best solutions or not? Bring his solutions.
Yeah, that's
not
written,
not policy documents by these guys, you understand? Actual words from their mouths, you understand? Solutions that they've personally preferred. Put him side by side with the other candidates. Let us, you understand? Like, he keeps saying, using this word, I'm interviewing for the job, right? So let's bring Peter Obi's interview, his interview video clips, and put them side by side with other candidates. Come on, Nigerians, for once, it's a no-brainer. It's just common sense. You understand? Let's go with the best candidate. Let's give the job to the best candidate for once. Nothing has worked in the past, right? We've tried different things, it's all failed. Someone who says is going to develop education, someone who says is going to cut short the waste. The other day I looked at the amounts that the present government Aso Rock spends on feeding his family, and I screamed. This guy spent billions just on feeding. Peter Obi is a man that obviously will not do this. He has a very small family, and even for that reason alone, go with him. Go with this man. You know that he's going to cut down spending. He's going to reduce consumption. You know that. And that's like one of Nigeria's biggest problems. We're spending so much. And he's going to work. He's going to encourage development. Young people like me who want to go into business in the Peter Obi presidency will be encouraged. We will get business loans. If you want to go into the textile business, you said it over and over and over again. You will be empowered to do business. That's what a Peter Obi presidency would look like.
That lots of young people want to hear about right now. Lots of business ideas, no funding. Give us an insight on that. What can Mr. Peter Obi do differently to help young Nigerians in terms of business loans, achievability?
Yeah, so as you know, this comes from the top. It comes from the top. It all comes down to government policy. The governments, in partnership with the central bank, who can induce businesses, banks. It's at the end of it, it's all down to government makes policies, and it's all down to their policies. I remember if you like about 2 years ago, my bank was chasing me with loans, were begging me, I won't mention the bank. They were encouraging me to come out. They said, "Oh, I qualify for this loan, that loan." They said, "Oh, interest free." Or then they said, "Oh, as a woman, I'm also." And when I asked them, guys, why my account officer kept calling me, I'm like, "Why are you calling me about this loan?" And he said, "Oh, you qualify." Obviously, because I'm a high net worth individual. Obviously, they looked through my accounts. Okay, this one, but other people, a university graduate, someone fresh out of university, will not get the same loan facility, and it's very sad. Yeah. It's very sad. To get a loan facility in Nigeria, you need to obviously have land, properties, and all sorts of things, to qualify even for a small loan. Small businesses are not encouraged. But Peter Obi has said this over and over and over again. He's going to empower small businesses. He's going to empower. So if a government is interested, like I said, it comes down from the body language of the government, it comes down to the interest of the government. He's going to make these facilities available for young people. He's specifically targeted certain sectors. He's talked about the agricultural sector, textiles, production. Nigeria is so rich. Focus has been, he actually said it. He's going to de-emphasize the oil. He said it now, the land, fertile land in the north. He keeps talking about Niger State. He's a real oil of Nigeria. We are so hyper-focused on oil when this is the real. So I know that under Peter Obi presidency, if you're a young person interested in going to agriculture, which is a broad, I'm shocked. I am shocked. I remember when Buhari first came into power, he paid lip service to agriculture. I mean, he seems interested in giving some business. I don't know what happened to that policy. I mean, it just died. That entire plan just died in the space of 1 or 2 years. You know, I'm shocked that no government has actually, because that is such a fertile hunting ground for wealth for the nation. Instead, we've had the opposite. We've had people discourage people like me. We've had them discourage people like me from going to agriculture because, guys, I care about my life. I don't want to have a farm and then have my farm ransacked by headsmen. You know, government policy has discouraged, but when under Peter Obi presidency, yes, I am very sure business loans will be available to young people with bright ideas. Guys, in fact, start stacking up business proposals, opportunities. And I've heard so many people abroad, Nigerians abroad, who say they can't wait to come back to Nigeria under Peter Obi presidency. You've heard people joking about Niger State, going to buy land in Niger State, like while it is still cheap, because they know that as soon as Peter Obi is president, that place will become.
Prices will
that's
skyrocket.
That's the number one secret in business right now. Because you can tell that he's very passionate about developing that place. You know, so under Peter Obi presidency, young people would have hope. Like I said, he will not wave a magic wand. There's so much rot. So a lot has to be done, you understand, before things fully turn around. But he's talked about urgency. I love the fact that he's talked about fixing the power problem in the space of, a few years. You know, in fact, in the space of months, you know, increasing our output. And then in the space, I think he said in 4 years, Nigeria will be self-sufficient in power generation. So please, I don't experience to have hope. But of course, for this hope to be actualized, we have to put in the work. We need to make sure the Labour Party wins. And I would also encourage Nigerians to not only support Peter Obi, also support soldiers. You need soldiers around him. So please vote LP from top to bottom.
Yes.
Vote LP in the House of Reps, governors, Labour. Just vote LP from top to bottom so we can actualize this dream.
Thank you so much, Kibati. Once you said the top to bottom, you know, something came to mind, a particular song came to mind, and I'm sure you know the song from top to bottom that I speak about. Okay. Thank you so much, Kibati. I don't know if that's the next one, but can you hear me clearly?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry. I think your voice is cracking up. Yeah, the audio is cracking up. I can't hear you. Okay, repeat what you just said.
No, I said when you said top to bottom, a particular song came to mind, and I'm sure you know the song that I'm speaking about. When you said top to bottom. Okay.
Sorry.
But away from that, we want to go on a break right now. We're already out of time. So thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much for joining us and being able to throw so much light on Mr. Peter Obi's candidacy and making Nigerians see reason why he is the top shot and the one we need, and also why Nigerians should come out from the 25th of this month to vote for Labour Party from top to bottom. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hello, this is my message to the Nigerian youths. I am glad that we have this great opportunity to discuss about the future of this country, Nigeria. Nigeria belongs to all of us, but to the youths most especially. I am super proud of what the youths have done, the realization that indeed the power lies with the youth. Indeed, successive governments and leadership have failed the youth. They've dismissed their capacity, the creativity, innovation. And this is why we are where we were. I am here to speak to you that not only am I proud of you, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, is super proud of you. We are proud of the movement you're leading and all the sacrifices being made for a better Nigeria. I can tell you, Peter Obi means well for Nigerian youths. He will run a youth-inclusive government and purposeful leadership that will usher in a new dawn for generations to come. Job issues, unemployment, and indeed all the other hazards that we face as a younger generation, I believe will be a thing of the past, at least reduced significantly. I'm here to remind you that we are the last lap of this race when we all need to come to the consciousness that the effort we're going to put in the next coming weeks can change our trajectory completely and positively. So I want to urge you, do what you can to keep on the fight until a better Nigeria is achieved. You need to make sure that you realize again that you actually the one running for presidency. Just to be ObiDatti, Baba Ahmed, a symbol. We are coming for a better Nigeria. This is time to vote for Labour Party. The logo is Papa, Mama, Pikin, or LP. On that day, come out in mass, show your energy, show your creativity, do everything you need to do positively to make sure your votes count. That means wait until the end. I am thankful to God for what the Nigerian youths are doing. God bless you all. Thank you.
One. ObiDatti Family Television, and myself and my beautiful co-host Joy are still right here to keep you informed on everything happening through the nation and on the ObiDatti campaign train right now while it's moving. So Joy.
Yeah, yesterday Peter Obi was at a rally in Adamawa State, the hometown of the Vice President of Nigeria. That's the president's running candidate for PDP, for the PDP. And there's another striking thing I saw yesterday, that Adamawa, Jada precisely, is the hometown of Atiku, the presidential candidate of the PDP. But yet the state is rated as one of the poorest states in Nigeria. How about that?
You know, it is very amazing, quote unquote, when we get to see news like this about how impoverished the people of a state that is believed to be one of the most resourceful states in terms of human resource. And human resource is one of the leading points in that's developing countries like China.
Yeah.
You go to China, you see a lot of human resource. They have the brains, they have the people on ground, the people who are ready to do the work, they're ready to get the work going, and the rich factors of Adamawa, besides the vast farmland. But insecurity is one of the reasons why that state has been put into the very sorry situation it is in at the moment. Impoverishment, a lot of poor people are in that state, and that state needs a very positive restructuring, and that is why we saw the large and mammoth crowd that came out to support Mr. Peter Obi in the 3 locations he was in the state. He was in Jeddah, he was in Numan, and also in Yola, the capital of Adamawa. And we saw lots and lots of people cheering him on, lots of Nigerians very happy to have Mr. Peter Obi, and the streets credibility, the street popularity, the mobilization, the grassroots, all was still ongoing. And Mr. Peter Obi is heavily recognized in different parts and has very great chances of winning this election. Exactly. It's undoubtedly one of the best times in our democratic history in Nigeria, seeing that Mr. Peter Obi, who they believe emanated from nowhere, but I'll tell you, he emanated from somewhere. He did it in Anambra State. He did it in Anambra State. Forever, the people of Anambra State are still grateful that in a time where every politician was coming to consume, he came to create and build up a state that till tomorrow, lots and lots of Anambra are still saying thank you. That had it been, it was not this man.
Yeah.
These and these and these would have happened.
Exactly.
We had one of the best educational runs in Anambra State system of education during the time of Peter Obi. We had one of the best runs on security in Anambra State during the time of Mr. Peter Obi. We had lots and lots of patriotic Anambra donating their own value. We saw lots and lots of job creation. Private sector investors started coming in. Anambra State used to be seen as a state where you don't go to do business if you are not trading. But right now, when he was the governor of the state, we saw producers coming. We saw manufacturers coming. We saw people coming to grow industries in this state. So he did it here. He did not arise from nowhere. And now he's taking it to the national level. And he's going to do it at the national level. This is our belief, and we hope that every Nigerian, you inclusive, you watching at the moment inclusive, that you are going to come out and do what is right by taking your index finger, putting on the ink, and voting for LP. That is Mr. Peter Obi's party.
Yeah, talking about we Nigeria coming out on the day of election to do what is right. Yesterday we saw Kenneth Okoko, the spokesman for the PDP party, for the Labour Party, say that it was on NTN News. It spoke a lot about the chances of victory of Peter Obi. A lot yesterday, and I totally agree with him. He said the Peter Obi coming to be the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is going to bring a positive Nigeria, and I certainly agree with him.
I think Kenneth Okonkwo is one of those people you watch, and his story alone will give you some sort of glimpse of hope that Nigerians are beginning to stay awake.
Exactly.
He moved from the current ruling party that put us in this situation, the shambles, in these problems that we're in. He moved from the APC and came into Labour Party because of Mr. Peter Obi's ambition. Currently, he's one of the spokesperson